right. Hi, how's it going? My name is Peter Chung. I'm a product manager for Service Cloud working on our web customer experiences. I'm joined here with Justin McMillan, who's our senior engineer for our embedded service, web embedded service team. We're going to talk about how you can leverage snap-ins and extend it across what's past what's available out of the box to provide real customized experience for your company. Just a quick note, we may be talking about some future functionality, so just make sure you make any purchases based on already available product. So, just a real quick intro on what web chat and snap-ins is. We are going through some rebranding, so you'll hear web chat, you'll hear a live agent, you'll hear embedded service. It's all the same thing. It's chat that's embedded on your website. So this is not a Salesforce property. This is your homepage. It could be a community. It can be any page you'd like. So it doesn't have to be Salesforce. Web chat gives you that one-on-one experience between you and your customer, and it allows you to leverage multiple chats at once so you can increase your agent productivity. Also, with the introduction of Einstein chatbots, you can increase deflection and hopefully, increase productivity for your call centers. So, we're gonna go through a quick scenario here on, acting as myself as the product manager. Justin will be our engineer. As a product manager, we have our placeholder company. We call it Capricorn Coffee. As a PO, I want to say I love what's out of the box, but of course I'm going to want more because product managers always want to do something different. So we want to make sure, because it's on your site, that branding is important and that everything matches exactly what, it matches the tone of the rest of my site. So that's going to be a really important requirement in introducing chat on our website. So that's going to be step one. And then we also, because we're a B2B and a B2C company, I want to make sure that chats get routed to the right queues. We have our call center split into two different sections, one to handle our business customers and one to handle our consumer customers. So I want to make sure that, chats get routed to the right place. As an engineer, Justin, who has is an admin and engineer, he has familiar with our chat product, he's going to want to he knows that what's available, and he'll say, of course we can do that, anything we want, it's just going to take some additional time, because that's what engineers always say. So, if you look here, we have an example of our out-of-the-box chat component. We applied some quick declarative branding that's already available, just change some of the colors. But I want to highlight 4 acceptance criteria that we're going to be kind of working through today. First off, all of our input fields are boxes. That doesn't go in line with kind of what the rest of our branding looks like, so I want to replace the boxes to lines. I want to provide a link to our customer community so that we can increase deflection and hopefully, reduce the total number of chats, because while chat is more effective than phone, no chats are better than a chat. Third, we want to show what our customer support hours are, just so that we can clearly show additional information. In our current out-of-the-box pre-chat form, you don't have a ton of space to work with, so I wanted to be able to provide a link to that as well. And then also, like I mentioned before, I want to route chats from to our customer and business support teams based off of what product they entered in their pre-chat form. All right, so the way that we're going to be able to accomplish this, there's 2 things that we're going to leverage. First of all, we're going to leverage Lightning components. This allows you to get that pixel level control of your UI. And it's currently what we've seen a lot of customers do is that because this snap-in exists on your website, we'll see engineers just override our CSS to kind of add whatever elements they want to add in. And technically you can do that because it's your site, but it's not supported by Salesforce. And the reason why that happened, that's the case, is because anytime we do a release, we can make changes to our DOM, and if we make changes, it could break your customizations. And obviously, you don't want to get called up on a Saturday night after we do a release saying all of our snap-in's broken, and you don't want to get woken up and have to triage and firefight and get everything back and running. So we discouraged overriding the CSS. So we wanted to provide you another option to do it. So our Lightning components is how we're going to be able to do that. Currently, we have it available for our pre-chat and our minimized components. Overall, our long-term goal is over the next year or so to provide every single state of our snap-in to allow you to replace our UI with a Lightning component. The second thing we're going to be able to utilize is direct-to-button routing. So this is going to allow you to take pre-chat information. It allows you to take browser configurations, or really take information from your own systems and then use it to dynamically figure out which button, which queue, and which agent is equipped to take that person's chat. I think that's usually a goal for a lot of our customers to say, we have a Spanish language queue, or French speaking queue, or specific product lines can be handled by a specific team of people. So being able to push that information to the snap-in, and so when they accept a chat, it gets routed to the right team. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Justin. He's going to go over the demo.
All right.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Peter. Okay, so Peter said that we want to have a Lightning component for our pre-chat component, and we want to enable direct-to-button routing. So right now, we have our Capricorn Coffee page, and we've got our standard out-of-the-box pre-chat component here. So let's change this up. We go into our Snap-in setup node, and I am looking at the live agent settings page for my specific deployment. So and down here at the bottom, we have this customize with Lightning components region here. And if you can see, we have the pre-chat component and the minimize component. These pick lists, once I click edit, we will see that we've got this Capricorn Coffee pre-chat component that I've made ahead of time. So I'm going to save that here. So if we go into developer console, we can look at kind of the makings of this component. A couple things I want to call out. As Peter mentioned, this is a way for you to keep your styles safe across our releases. You control the DOM here, you control all of your markup, you control all of your styling, and your functionality. So here's another important piece here is this Lightning Snap-in pre-chat API component. You instantiate this directly into your component, and this will help you get your pre-chat fields. It'll help you start your chat. It'll help you validate your pre-chat fields. Another tip here that I had is using an Aura init handler. So when the component instantiates, this is when I use the pre-chat API to grab our fields and render them. That will go here. Anyways, use this pre-chat API to get our pre-chat fields. All right. One other thing to keep in mind with these components is that they are lockerized, which means they are isolated. For security reasons, you might want to look up a piece of some information on this just to make sure that you have all the information you need for your pre-chat component. If you need more help with dealing with these, we have a developer doc with some examples on entire pre-chat components. You can just copy and paste those right into your org, and they will work kind of out of the box. One of them kind of heavily uses Aura, and one of them uses as little Aura as possible to kind of be more accessible that way. So like Peter said, we want to kind of change the UI of our pre-chat component. He wants the visit community button, he wants our support hours, and he wants, the lines, right?
Lines.
All right. So again, we control the markup. So I added a table here for our hours. I have this visit community link here at the bottom. And then, of course, I did some CSS to change the lines. So now that we have looked at the developer console, let's see this component in action. All right, so I just refreshed the page, and I reopened my pre-chat component, and there it is. Again, you control this UI. This is yours. We cannot touch this. Here's our support hours, for example. Here's this visit community button, and, of course, the lines that were so important. All right.
So just real quick, I just want to, once you've finished your Lightning component and you've associated the snap-in, it immediately gets pushed to production, to your website. There's no development cycles that you need to go through. Once it's there, they refresh the page, and your new component's there. So being able to iterate and make changes on it is really fast using this system.
Right. Thank you, Peter. Again, I wanted to call it here, too. This is a GitHub page. So this doesn't live inside Salesforce. It's kind of our recommendation to test this on something that you can iterate on quickly. You can make kind of changes to this GitHub page. You can maybe use a Visualforce page, and then once you're ready to go, you might put it into your company's website. All right, so we've gone through the custom Lightning component. Let's look at direct-to-button routing. So for now, Peter has our, I guess you can see here, Peter has our default button as the B2C button. So without direct-to-button routing, all of our chats with the snap-in would go to this B2C button. So this button's got an auto greeting that says, "Hello, Capricorn Coffee Drinker. How can I help you?" This will help you differentiate when the chats are routed to the other button. And then we've got this B2B button that Peter wants me to route certain chats to. That's got this auto greeting of, "Hello, Capricorn Coffee Business Partner. How can I assist you?" So direct to button routing is a function that lives inside of your snippet on your container page where the snap-in lives. It does not live inside of your custom pre-chat component. It lives again in the container where the snap-in is hosted. So here we go. I'm going to pull up our source. Forgive the ugliness of this page. However, here is our direct to button routing. So this code sample is available from this slide deck afterwards. You can view it if you like. So again, this direct to button routing here comes with our default snippet. So you'll see that it'll be commented out. It's a function we pass in your pre-chat form data. So this is the exact same data that comes from the pre-chat API component. Only this time it will have the values that the end user has selected right before we start the chat. So I have gone through and found inside of this pre-chat form data, I want to find our field that says Capricorn product. And if it includes Tropic or Capricorn, I want to route it to our B2B button. Again, like Peter mentioned earlier, you can use anything on your page here, not just our pre-chat form data. We thought that would be helpful to pass through, of course, but if you wanted to use maybe some session data about the user or some other information that might be helpful, you are free to do so. So now that we've looked at this, let's go back in and try this out. Whoops. So we are online in this tab over here, and Peter says that if I choose one of these business partner products, he wants it to route to the B2B button. So I've chosen Tropic 1, start the chat. So this chat request has gone through, and I'm up next, so I've been routed. I'm going to switch over to the agent side, and you can see that the chat has routed to a B2B button as opposed to this default B2C button that we had. If I accept the chat, we'll see this auto greeting that says, hello Capricorn Coffee Business Partner. And that's it.
Yep.
Right?
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
All right, I'll bring you back.
All right, so yeah, we covered a couple things, pretty quickly. We have a lot of resources available online for you to kind of get some more information around the Lightning components. You want to take a look at our component library that shows you all the APIs that you can hook into when you're developing your components, and we have our developer docs that really kind of show you and walk you through the entire process with some samples there as well. For direct-to-button routing, you just remember, if you're creating a custom pre-chat Lightning component, all your kind of live agent advanced settings don't go in there. It goes in whatever page you're hosting the actual snap-in in. And then documentation and examples for that, for extra pre-chat info or details, invitations, all can also be found in our developer docs as well. And like Justin mentioned, you have to think about Locker service. Locker service is really there to help protect against cross-site scripting. So make sure that you read up on Locker service to make sure that all the components, that all the information you need is available to you at runtime, and you have a great experience there. We have our Snap-ins Trailblazer community. If you can kind of talk to other people who are interested in Snap-ins and Live Agent, and get resources and get help if you're having issues implementing. Sometimes this, because we're dealing with code, you can run into some troubles. People in the community are there to help. I monitor the community regularly, so that's a good place if you need to connect with me. And also, if you're a brand new customer, don't have chat enabled at all yet in your org, our trailhead for web chat has been updated recently to kind of go through setting up Live Agent, setting up Omni, setting up your Snap-in, and kind of getting you started with all like the details of the routing configurations and things like that. Don't forget to don't miss the Salesforce keynote tomorrow. You're going to hear about kind of where we're heading, how we're thinking about service in the next year, and get some really good customer stories that you can kind of learn about. And then around Dreamforce, if you're at the Marriott Marquis, we can go to the service lodges there for you to get additional help or resources, talk to some people there. And then also the dfhelp.co if you need help getting around or anything like that. And with that, that's kind of all we got. We'll be here on the side if you have any questions or any questions like that. And thank you.